In the TOEFL writing, what does it take to go from a 21 to a 30? That's what we're going to do together. I'm going to show you a real TOEFL student's writing response, and I'll go line by line, sentence by sentence, showing you exactly what this student needs to change to improve their score. A lot of people get stuck at this plateau of about 21, 22, 23, and they're not sure how to improve. This video is for you. I'm going to show you exactly what you need to do to get that higher TOEFL writing score. My name is Josh from TST Prep, and one document I'm going to talk about a lot in this video is a TOEFL writing guide. It's completely free. I'll put a link in the description below. It has templates, sample essays, sample questions, everything you need to help you improve your score. Link in the description below to the TOEFL writing guide. Stick around to the end because I'm going to share some links to resources to help you practice. Both of these will be free and paid. So let's look at TOEFL writing question number 2. This is called the writing for academic discussion. And we're going to look at a couple of sample answers to this question here. I'm going to put it on the screen. On test day, you will have 10 minutes to write your essay to this academic discussion. You can pause the video right now and try to answer that yourself, which I recommend doing, but we're just going to get right into the sample answers here. And I'm going to show you first 4 sample answers that have big mistakes. And so I want to make sure you avoid making these big mistakes, and then we'll go to the student that got a 21 and show you line by line how the student can improve. So let's do it right now. So the first example here is a big mistake. I'm going to put it on the screen. Tell me, what do you think it is? Why is this student going to score very low in the TOEFL writing? So this student has a problem with length. They have other problems, but one big problem here is length. It's too short. The student needs to have at least 100 words for the writing for academic discussion. 120 or better would be ideal, but at least 100 words. This student has only 66 words, I believe, and it's just too short. So first mistake, make sure you write enough words. If you're having trouble with that, give yourself more time when you practice so you can write enough, and then slowly reduce that time until you're writing in 10 minutes. Now for the second big mistake, I'm just going to say it, I'm not going to show you an example here. It's that structure. Make sure you have a template. Make sure you know how you're going to start, how you're going to progress through the topic, and what you're going to say at the end. Here's the template we give for task 2. You don't have to follow this exactly, but in general, you want to start with giving your opinion, a reason and example for your opinion, and maybe you want to talk about one person's perspective from the discussion. And then if you have time to give a conclusion, that's optional. You really don't have to do that. But basically the most important thing is that you give your opinion, reasons for your opinion, and the examples to explain your opinion. So that's the second biggest mistake. Some people just kind of go all over the place and you don't want to do that. Third big mistake. Now this one we have a student sample essay for. Take a look here. What do you think is their big mistake? So length is definitely an issue like we talked about before, but here we're going to talk about, or I want to focus on, typos. This student has a lot of typos, which are misspellings, they're wrong capitalization, wrong spacing. So the student has lowercase i's where they need capital I's, too much space between commas, commas where there should be a period, space where you don't need it, misspellings. It's a big mess. So this is going to score very low because there are just way too many typos. So make sure you give yourself time to check your writing, make sure that you don't have unnecessary spaces, you have the right capitalization and the right spelling. You want to have, I would say, less than 5 typos in your response if you want to score really high. One more big mistake. Let's look at an example here. And what do you think? What's the problem here? Now this one is a little bit tricky because you have to look at the question that we talked about before. This is about STEM and if it should be taught more in school besides liberal arts. And here the student is answering the wrong question. That's the big mistake, is the content is wrong. So for here, this test taker, what they're doing is that they're talking about the dangers of STEM. But that's not what the question is asking. The question is asking, should STEM science, technology, engineering, mathematics, I think that's right, should STEM topics replace or take a bigger role instead of liberal arts topics? That's the question in education. That's the question. This is talking about how STEM is dangerous, that we need critical thinking, we need genetic research, and so this is not answering the question. So make sure you're on topic and you're answering the question correctly, because that can have a huge impact on your score, and you really don't want to do that. It's just a waste of time, and you don't want to have to take the test again. So make sure you read the question carefully. So now let's look at the student that we're going to do a makeover for. Now this student has a strong response, but we're going to make it better. So let's take a look. So this student, it's a boy, it's a man, so I'm going to say he did a lot of things really well. He stayed on topic, he answered the question, he gives good reasons and examples. He has some typos, but it's not too big of a deal. I think that he should have a little bit less and we'll fix them, but they're not too much of an issue. He progresses the topic well. Clearly he understands templates, he understands structure, he has a good grasp of vocabulary and grammar. There's just some issues that are popping up that we need to work on, and it's best to take it line by line. So we're going to go line by line, and you can see the changes that I'll make to each line of this student's response and how this is going to help him improve, and also what he can do next time to improve as well. So the first sentence here: in my opinion, I believe that putting a lot of focus on STEM education and neglecting the liberal arts education is not the way to go. So this is good. So he understands the question. Should we focus more on STEM than on liberal arts? And he gives his opinion. He does not think so. That's good. He answers the question right away. Perfect. So in my opinion is part of the template, so that's good. And he just had a typo with a lot of. That's a really easy thing to fix. One thing is sometimes he gives vocabulary that is a bit too conversational. Like, that's the way to go. The way to go is like another way to say that's a good decision. I changed this to the best approach to curriculum change. So you don't have to make your vocabulary fancy, but you do want to make it appropriate. And here, that's the way to go, is a little too casual. We want to make it a little bit more appropriate, a little bit more academic. That's the best approach. Next sentence. This is a long one. My personal belief is, so this is part of the template, so that's good, that teaching STEM courses should be done without necessarily casting shadow on liberal arts or any other course, because it would mean that long term there will be a gap that again will need to be filled eventually. So he's trying to include some phrases, some idioms that he's not so comfortable with. So casting shadow on liberal arts. He's not using that, we would say, to cast a shadow of a doubt on. He's not using it in the correct manner here. So I would just tell him to not use that in general and say what he means. So the first part of this sentence is good. My personal belief is that teaching STEM courses should be done without unnecessarily cutting liberal arts or any other course. So don't cut it. Cut it is just a simple way to say it. Don't cut the funding, don't cut the money. Cut liberal arts or cut the courses here. Because, and now I'm trying to explain that last part of the sentence was a bit confusing the way he wrote it. I know what he meant, but the grammar was a little off. So what I changed it to is because it would mean that there is a gap in a student's education that could have long-term consequences. So it's a little confusing here. You would need a teacher or somebody to tell you how to fix this here. This would be something you would hire a private teacher for. I'd recommend TST Prep. This would take a writing evaluation, which we do at TST Prep. I'll put a link to that. But you can also do it for free with ChatGPT. And you can put this prompt into ChatGPT. You write out your essay, you put this prompt into ChatGPT, and it'll give you feedback and rewrite it a little bit as well. So you can do that as well if money is an issue, because the evaluations and working with a teacher does cost money. So the next line is good. I have nothing to say here. For instance, I have seen that many job opportunities arise in the fast-growing technological jobs. It's a little awkward. I could change it. He has the word jobs twice in one sentence. I usually think that if you have one word twice in a single sentence, you should try to rewrite it. but I'm going to leave this for now. I think it's not a big deal. I like some of his phrases like fast-growing technological jobs. I mean, that's a hard phrase to learn, to use, and to use well. However, I believe everyone should thrive to live their best life and give back in the best ways possible. So here, this is a really simple thing to change where he says giving back. Make sure you keep it, if you're in the simple present, this is a simple present, something you think, you believe, you feel, keep everything in the simple present, okay? So the verb tenses don't need to be too complicated here. You're going to use simple present a lot. In this sentence, the student should use simple present. He has a couple typos that I'm going to fix as well. However, I believe everyone should try to live their best life. I know he tried to use the word thrive. It sounds a bit awkward here, so I'm just going to cut it. Live their best life and contribute to society. So I understood what he was trying to say to giving back, but here we can use some vocabulary a little bit more difficult, not too difficult, but contribute to society, give to society in different capacities outside of STEM. Okay, so changing the structure a bit to make it a bit clearer. By this I mean, so I'm not crazy about this phrase, by this I mean. It's a little casual, but I'm going to keep it, it's okay. That I have already seen a big increase in unoccupied jobs in these art-based opportunities. So the last part is a little confusing, so I'm going to make it clearer. Big increase in unoccupied jobs that are based around artistic skills, like creative writing or animation. So he says artistic skills, he's introducing something new. You want to give examples to help the reader understand what you're explaining. So artistic skills, so you haven't said anything about artistic skills so far. We've been talking about STEM and liberal arts. What do you mean by artistic skills? Oh, like creative writing, like drawing. Okay, you give examples there to make your writing clear. So far, there's just little changes here. He's got the structure, he's got some typos that I'm fixing. There's one or two grammar mistakes with verb tenses that I'm changing. There are some parts that need to be rewritten because it's a little unclear, but clearly the student has a high level of vocabulary, high level of grammar, probably written essays before. They just need to get used to the TOEFL format and to just keep things a little bit simpler. The last sentence here, I concur with Ali, this is part of the template. You agree with one of the people in the discussion, that both should coexist without feeling the need to prioritize one on top of the other. So one on top of the other. So I kept that. It's a little casual, but that's okay. But still, and I kept these two sentences and made them one to make it part of a longer sentence, and because longer sentences do help your score a bit. That doesn't mean every sentence should be crazy long, but one or two is okay. But still, there's currently too much emphasis on STEM, and we must not neglect the liberal arts when considering educational programs. So he said should put emphasis in one area and neglect another. I made it more specific. What one area, not another? What are we talking about again? What's the one area? What's the other area? Repeat it again so it's clear to the reader what you're talking about. So I gave some examples of being more specific to give some more clarity to the reader so they understand what you mean. So this is the rewritten version, and one site that you can use for this to kind of check your score, there's nothing for checking your TOEFL score, but Grammarly, you can use the free version and check it out. If I copy and paste the original version of this essay into Grammarly, even though it's not designed for TOEFL, it's just designed for general, grammar stuff, and I put it there, it gives a pretty low score. It's like less than 50, right? If I put the rewritten version and copy and paste it up there, it scores above a 90 or a 90. So that's what you want to aim for. You want to be aiming for writing an 80 or above in Grammarly, so you can check your score there as well. They have a paid version, but you can use the free version. You can also rewrite part of your essay in Grammarly as well, just like in ChatGPT, and that's free too. So check that out. I'll put a link in the description to Grammarly. It's just a site that I like. I don't get paid anything for that. I just think it's really helpful for TOEFL students. So you've seen what a TOEFL writing makeover looks like. If you'd like one yourself, check out tstprep.com and meet with a teacher that can do one for you as well. Or use some of these free resources like Grammarly and ChatGPT to help you on your way to get your TOEFL writing score. If you found this helpful, like, subscribe, it'd be super helpful. And if you want some more writing practice, check out this video here. But that's about it. Thank you guys for watching. My name's Josh, and I'll see you in the next one.